Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we translate the confusing language of business reports into plain English. But sometimes the numbers tell a story that's more like a quiet whisper than a booming announcement. This is RedHawk Acquisition Corp's quarterly report for June 2025, and it reads more like a company's to-do list than a financial update. A lot of getting ready and not much doing yet, but we'll unpack what we can. First off, let's get a quick overview. RedHawk Acquisition Corp is basically a startup in the shell game of corporate finance. Incorporated in late 2023, they are a blank check company, meaning they exist to find a private company to merge with or acquire. They haven't actually done anything yet besides get themselves ready to do something. This report covers the period ending June 30, 2025, and it's pretty thin on operational details because frankly, there are no operations yet. Think of it as a meticulously prepared empty stage waiting for the actors to arrive. Now, when we look at the balance sheet as of June 30, 2025, we see a few key things. Total assets are about $1,400, most of which is in cash, and something called deferred offering costs. These are basically the expenses incurred to get ready for selling shares to the public later down the road. It's like paying for printing flyers and booking a hall before the actual event. Liabilities are very low, just around $17,000, mostly in accounts payable. That's normal for a company that's not really doing business yet. On the equity side, they have common stock and a tiny bit of preferred stock. The common stock is valued at a very low par value of $0.001 per share. The most important number here is the 375N stock outstanding. This is the initial stake given to the founder. And what's most telling is the accumulated deficit, which is around $17,000. This shows the company has spent more money than it's brought in, which makes sense since they are still in the formation phase. Looking at the income statement for the 3 months ended June 30, 2025, it's not surprising to see a net loss of about $1,376. This is mainly from formation and operating costs. For the 6-month period ending June 30, 2025, the net loss is around $280.48. These numbers are tiny. They represent basic administrative costs like legal and accounting fees to keep the company compliant as a public entity. Now let's talk about cash flow. For the first 6 months of 2025, they used about $1,896 in financing activities, largely due to offering costs. They also injected some cash from issuing preferred stock totaling $2,000. Their cash balance at the beginning of the year was only $479, and it grew to $1,709, and it grew to $1,709, and it grew to $1,000. The 70 fees and E for fair for their future. The notes to the financials really paint the picture here. RedHawk Acquisition Corp is what's called a shell company, a blank check company. They haven't started any real operations, and their only purpose is to find a business to merge with or buy. They are operating under strict rules for shell companies, which means a lot of what they do is about preparing for and conducting an offering and then finding that acquisition target. They mentioned their registration statement becoming effective in February 2025 for an offering of up to 6 million shares at $0.75 each. Crucially though, it says no shares have been sold yet. This is a quiet start. They go on to talk about accounting standards, and as an emerging growth company, they can actually delay adopting new rules compared to larger corporations. This means their financial statements might look different from those of bigger companies, which is important to remember if you're comparing them. The going concern note is particularly important. It says there's been no income from operations. Management acknowledges they need more money to operate and find a merger partner, and they expect this money to come from a future offering or from related parties. This is a clear signal of financial uncertainty. They explicitly state that these conditions raise substantial doubt about the company's ability to continue as a going concern. That's a big red flag in the financial world. Let's look at the founder shares. About March 2024, the company's founder, RedHawk Acquisition 1 LLC, purchased 375,000 shares of common stock for just $3,750. That's a tiny amount per share. We also see that some key people, Mr. Reifinger and Mr. Walsh, own parts of this founder entity. Then there's the preferred stock. RedHawk Investment Group LLC, a related party, has been buying Series A preferred stock. Over the periods covered, they bought shares for $15,000, then another $15,000, then $115,000, then $100, and more recently $2,000. This is how they are funding themselves. Interestingly, their office space is provided for free by a company called Aventus Advisory Group, which is managed by Mr. Reifinger. That's a nice perk, but also highlights the close ties and related party nature of many of their arrangements. When we swing over to the management's discussion section, it reiterates that all activities so far are basically administrative costs. They expect losses to go up as they continue their search for a business to combine with. They mentioned that for the 3 months ended June 30, 2020-2025, their net loss increased compared to the previous year due to additional trustee and website hosting fees. For the 6-month period, the net loss actually decreased compared to the previous year due to additional trustee and website hosting fees. For the 6-month period, the net loss actually decreased compared to 2025. Their net loss increased compared to the previous year due to additional trustee and website hosting fees. For the 6-month period, the net loss actually decreased compared to 2024, but they explained this is because of higher audit fees in 2024 related to the S1 filing preparation. The management section on liquidity and going concern echoes the concern from the notes. They have very little cash and depend on funding from related parties or future offerings. It's clear they don't have enough money to operate for more than a short period without further investment. This part on controls and procedures is quite notable. They admit their disclosure controls and procedures are not effective. The reasons are a lack of an audit committee and limited staff, meaning there's not much separation of duties. When a company's own management says their internal controls aren't effective, it's a definite point of caution. Finally, the exhibits provide standard certifications for the CEO and CFO and the necessary data files for electronic reporting. Nothing too groundbreaking here, just the usual paperwork. So what's the story here? RedHawk Acquisition Corp is in the very earliest stages. They are a shell company with minimal assets and expenses focused entirely on finding a target for a business combination. The financial numbers are tiny because there are no operations. The key takeaway is their reliance on related party funding and explicit acknowledgement of substantial doubt about their ability to continue as a going concern. This isn't unusual for a SPAC at this stage, but it means their immediate future hinges entirely on successfully executing their acquisition strategy and securing more funding. Without a successful merger, they are essentially just a collection of administrative costs. They have a lot of work ahead to make anything happen. What do you all think of RedHawk's quiet start? Are they setting a solid foundation or just building a very expensive cardboard box? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this breakdown helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more corporate insights. And don't forget to join our Discord community linked in the description for more in-depth discussions. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next Decode.